And as young people, I will say to you, you must know your rights and you must know your responsibilities. And I will recommend to you what I recommend to everybody on any campus that I go to, which is a portion of the 1992 Constitution. It has become almost like my mantra everywhere that I go, which is Chapter 6. Chapter 6, the chapter that is called the Directive Principles of State Policy. So if you haven't had the opportunity to look at that chapter, please find some time and go and read the Directive Principles of State Policy. From time to time, people look at political parties and say, oh, we should have a national manifesto, a national plan, a national agenda, and so on and so forth. My opinion is that there is such a national agenda, a national manifesto, and that is what is called the Directive Principles of State Policy. Because it tells each and every one of us what we should aspire towards, what should happen in this country. And it doesn't direct this chapter to people in government or to people in political parties. So let me read something to you, just one simple paragraph. It says, the Directive Principles of State Policy contained in this chapter shall guide all citizens, emphasis on all citizens, Parliament, the President, the Judiciary, Council of State, Cabinet, political parties, and other bodies and persons in applying or interpreting this Constitution and in implementing any policy decisions for the establishment of a just and free society. So all of our hopes and aspirations, they are right there in the Directive Principles of State Policy. And let me also mention some 2 or 3 things that are in there, which we should make it necessary for you to go through. Because quite often, some people, they are talking, who is a Dagomba, who is a Fanti, who is a Ga, who is an Ashanti, Ewe, and so on and so forth. Well, this chapter says none of it matters. Whether you believe in Islam or Christianity, it says none of that matters as far as Ghana is concerned. It says the state shall actively promote the integration of the peoples of Ghana and prohibit discrimination and prejudice on the grounds of place of origin, circumstances of birth, ethnic origin, gender or religion, creed or other beliefs. So that's part of your right, that you must know your right. You must know your right to walk around this country as a female, male, as a Muslim, Christian, or whatever. It is important to know when you know your rights, then you also know what part you will play in national development, your own personal development, and so on and so forth. And then I'm just picking 2 or 3 things to read to you in this chapter, and that will be all. There's a whole lot of it. I'm asking you once again for you to take time and go and get close to it and understand it. It also says there's a responsibility for the state. It says the state shall take all necessary action to ensure that the national economy is managed in such a manner as to maximize the rate of economic development and to secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every person in Ghana, and to provide adequate means of livelihood and suitable employment and public assistance to the needy as a responsibility of the state. Quite often you hear people in government saying, oh, the state alone cannot do this. The state alone cannot do that. Anytime I hear the state alone can't do it, I know that somebody who is part of the state or part of administration is making excuses as to why they can't or shouldn't do something that is part of their responsibility. So I'm saying to you, this is part of what is inside the directive principles of state policy. And I have been here before where I have also read to you the part about education. The part about education and the part of education which says that the state or the government shall, within 2 years after Parliament first meets, after the coming into force of this Constitution, draw up a program for the implementation within the following 10 years for the provision of free, compulsory, and universal basic education. All of those things, and many more, they are in this same Chapter 6, Directive Principles of State Policy. So, if you want to insist on your right, you must know what your right is under the 1992 Constitution. And so if you're also going to challenge authority, you must challenge authority using facts, and not just what comes to your mind when you are dreaming or sleeping, or when you wake up and you feel that something is not right. So it is important for all of us to know and understand that.